Alrighty, so I'm going to be showing you really quickly how to create a draft. I'm going to be doing it in the Fiberworks PCW 4.4 Bronze software. This is the weaving software that I mentioned in the PowerPoint presentation. Now, you do not need this software. In fact, as I was showing you the example of how to draw a draft, you can totally do that with graph paper. You can go to, it's called printgraphpaper.com, and you can just print yourself out some graph paper and do it like that. But for this example, just for the sake of time, I'm going to show you how to do it on the computer, because I think that might, for those of you who end up, wanting just to try this program out, then at least you'll be able to have a little bit of an idea of how it works. Now, I must preface this by saying that I am by no means an expert at using this software. I've only used it a few times. I don't actually, when I'm creating something, I actually kind of sort of make it up as I'm going, so I don't ever really draw out a draft even on paper. I'm just kind of like, okay, playing. So I may go 1 2 3 4, and then I'll maybe do some points. So I'll turn it and go 1 2 3 4 3 2 1 2 3 4 3 2. You'll see that when I'm doing it in a minute. But the bottom line is that you don't have to do any of this. You can just go, once you understand the concept, you can just play. But if you don't want, if you're afraid of wasting yarn and you want to get an idea of what you're making, this type of program can make it easy for you to really play and to get some ideas of what you can make before you get started. So I'm going to start out by just making this a good little bit bigger. So I'm coming up here to view and I'm zooming in. My eyes are getting older, so I might want to make it a little bit bigger so I can see a little bit better. Alright, so up here, this is where our threading is, and then this is our threading. Right here is the lift plan, and right here is the drawdown. Now, what's the difference between a lift plan and the tie-up? We're not going to be using this area right here in this program because we're not tying things to treadles. When you have a floor loom, you're kind of sort of constrained to how you've tied up the heddles. Don't really, the treadles on your shafts, don't really worry about that because if you're a floor loom weaver, you know this better than I do, and if you're not, then this isn't important, but only for this the sake of this example. We're not going to use a tie-up, so we're going to come over here and we're going to put it in lift plan mode, right? Because we have the flexibility of changing things up on the fly. If we have the tie-up, then what we put here, we're only going to be able to move the heddles based on how the treadles, which we're not using, are tied up. So by and large, I guess most floor loom weavers aren't just going to get down every other few, passes and untie and retie their treadles, every few passes. They kind of tied up and then they want to just, go with how it's been tied up. Whereas with us, we can change, as you'll be able to see, how we raise and move our heddles on the fly because nothing is tied up. It's in the moment we can change, which is the beauty of rigid heddle weaving and the beauty of creative rigid heddle weaving. So if this isn't clear, then come to the studio hours and ask me about it, but just take it from me, put it in the lift plan mode, okay? So over here on this side, we have a variety of different things. In the mode where you're just using it to try it out, you cannot save and you cannot print. So you just, that's not something that you can do. You can open things that have been saved, and you can download things from their website, and if someone sends you something, you can open them, but you cannot save any edits you do to it, nor can you print. Here's your undo button. You can cut and copy and paste and all those other things. This is a helpful one. It's a selection tool. I use it to delete large portions when I want to change my mind. And this is pretty cool. So this is the straight draw. When you click on this, this allows you to get straight draw threading and straight draw lift plan without having to select the boxes. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reproduce the draft that I drew for the lesson that we just did. So I'm going to click on here, which is the straight draw, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do my threading. So a straight draw threading is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just going to hold, well, first let me do it freehand and then I'll do it straight draw so you can see. So this is freehand. This lets you select one box at a time. So I'm going to go 1. So this is shaft 1, shaft 2, shaft 3, shaft 4. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to repeat 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you'll notice that it's making black boxes. In some drafts you'll see numbers here. In some books it'll be written 1, 2, 3, 4, so you'll know where you're putting your threads. But this program, I'm sure there may be a setting to change that. I don't know if it is, but it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Alright, so I'm going to be doing straight draw straight across. So I'm going to come over here and click on the little straight draw selection, and I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to pull and go across. And you see that as I move across, it's just, I'm not having to select each of these boxes. I'm just able to make a bunch of the 1, 2, 3, 4s without having to select all of them. Alright, excuse me. I had to get a drink of water. So now you can do the same thing. Now in my first example, I did 2 repetitions of straight draw. So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to choose freehand so you can see how I do it. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in this case I'm lifting Heddle 1, then I'm going to lift Heddle 2, then I'm going to lift Heddle 3, then I'm going to lift Heddle 4. I'm lifting Heddle 1, Heddle 2, Heddle 3, Heddle 4, and that would be the pickup stick. Now the way this is being viewed, you're kind of seeing it as it would be with the interlacement of the threads. So this is your warp thread right here. These are your warp threads, and the threads, the blue threads, are representative of the weft threads. So you're seeing that the weft threads are passing over 3 warp threads and going under 1, right? Alright, and so we can come over here and we can, again, we're selecting that drawing tool, and I'm just going to hold it down. I'm just going to come and I'm going to be able to get my straight draw threading without having to type each of those out. Alright, now let me see. That's line draw. So now I'm going to do I am sure that there's possibly a way to do 2-2 threading, and I'm going to come up here and go to this help section really quick and see. And let's see, can I do, if you have a question, you can come here to the help section. They have a lot of things here. There are some parts that, or some features that are in the bronze or that are in the silver paid package that are not in the bronze one. So that's something to keep in mind. Alright, so I'm going to go back to freehand, and I'm going to do the 2-2 twill. So I'm going to start with 1 and 4. So I'm going to go 1 and 4. I'm going to go 3 and 4, 2 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 4, 3 and 4, 2 and 3. Oops. Let's go and undo. We're going to go 2 and 3, 1 and 2. Now, I'm going to get the select thing right here. You see I click the select button. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select this, and I'm going to do a Control C, and I'm going to come here, I'm going to do a Control V, and there we go. So there's more than one way to do what you want to do. So last but not least, I'm going to do the other twill, the other 3 twills. So I'm going to go over 1 thread and under 3 threads. So it's actually the reverse of this. 2-2 twill gives you a balanced twill, and both sides look the same. 1-3 and 3-1 twill, they are the opposites of each other. So I'm going to do, let's go back here, we're going to go back to the freehand, and we're going to do the over 3 warp. We're going to go under 3 warp threads over 1. Now I'll be honest with you, when we get to the explanation of what these are, my preference is always to weave this one because I'm only handling one heddle at a time, whereas and this is the reverse of what I'm about to show you. When you're treadling, you know, there's ways for the floor loom weavers to tie up the treadles so that they're lifting multiple shafts at one time with pressing down one treadle. But for us, you know, this is a good one to know how to do it and to understand. But unless you're mixing up the patterns and weaving, you know, something that has, and you want this under 3 over 1 to be on the face and something else to be on the face. If you're just weaving like a straight piece of cloth or a scarf that's in 1-3 or 3-1, it's the reverse. So I would totally do this one. I would not weave this one unless I had a real good reason. But anyway, you'll see why when I demonstrate it. I probably won't do more than a couple repeats of it because, yeah. Anyway, it's 1, 2, 3. 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 1, sorry, I made a mistake, let's see, 3, 4, 1, oh, you see, this is why I don't like this one. 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4. There we go. Took me a minute. 1, 2, 4, and then we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. Does that make sense? 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 4. Alrighty. Whew. I tell you, even just thinking that. Okay, so as you can see, you're seeing the warp threads are showing because you're lifting up the heddles. So you're going under 3 over 1, right? It's the exact opposite of this. Now, let me see. You can change the way that you can see or what you're seeing and how it's showing. If you turn that off, you're just seeing the colored in blocks, kind of like what I drew out on the piece of paper. When you turn this interlacement on, you're seeing kind of the way that the threads are interlacing, how they're moving over and under and on top of each other. So hopefully that's helpful. As I said before, if you're using the free version, you're not going to be able to save this. So it's a good way just to play with the idea. But if you want to, if you know you like this is something that you like to do to be able to plan and to get ideas, then you might want to invest in the piece of software. But if you just want to play with the ideas and kind of understand how the threads are behaving with each other, and your warp and your weft are behaving, then that's this. You can just play with it. Really quick, let me show you when you first turn the computer on, or you first open the program. It's not gonna be set up to look like this, right? So you want to come here, you want to go here, and let me close out so you can see what I did again. This last thing, you're going to come over here to File, you're going to come to Preferences, and you're going to change it. I think when you first get it, it's got like 8 shafts and however many treadles, whatever that would correspond with 8 shafts. I think it's like 10 or so. And so when I first, I have it set so that when I open the program up, it will automatically come to 4 shafts because I am, I'm a rigid Heddle weaver. That's the most that I can weave with without, doing some other fun things that I don't want to do, and that's what we're covering in this course. But you can put it at 4 shafts, or and later on in this module, I'm going to be showing you in another lesson how to weave 3 shafts with 2 heddles. And I mentioned it in this lesson that you can do that. So if you want to play with 3 shaft weaving, then what you would do would be just to change your shafts to 3. All right, and that will change correspondingly how this row is going to be gone, that row is going to be gone, because you're only working with 3 shafts and 3, 6 lifts total, 3 the Heddle 1 or shaft 1, 2, and 3 on this side. All right, you want to put it for the lift plan as opposed to the tie-up, because if you are using the tie-up, some things are not going to work. You're going to have to change things around. Just put it for lift plan, because that's what we're doing, because we can change things in the middle. We can do what we want in the moment. A little bit more free than our floor loop friends, and yeah, so that's the most important part. Shafts 3 or 4 depending on what you want to do, treadles 4, lift plan, we're going with a lift plan, and interlacement. You can always change that however you want to do it, but yeah, I like to see how, I personally like to see how the threads are interacting with each other. You can change and do it however you want, and you can change your colors and all that other stuff over here. It's a really fun way to kind of play. Yeah, it's just kind of fun. So alrighty, that's it. Hopefully that's helpful. Again, if you have any questions about drafting and basic questions about using this program, because like I said, I'm nowhere near being an expert, do bring them to the studio hours, and I will be more than happy to talk you through, work with you, and share my screen so that we can figure it out together. All right then, well, hey, in the next lesson we're going to be diving deeper and learning a little bit more about why and how we are going to be threading our looms to be able to achieve these beautiful patterns in an easier way. I cannot wait to see you in the next lesson. Bye.